Hello, welcome to Truth and Transparency. What is it? Saturday evening, I believe. Got an intro for you, and then we're going to jump into everything. Again, welcome to the mods. Welcome to Truth and Transparency subscribers, members, those of you guys that have just joined. Saturday night's Bombshell. We're going to break down this discovery. It's been something that we've been saying on this channel for going on, 6 months? Pretty much since this has happened. Basically, once December came about and the news broke on there being a vehicle in the area. So here we go. Check it out.
With what he's learned. Jordan, what can you tell us?
Well, the highest priority at this point remains tracking down that white Hyundai Elantra that was seen near the crime scene. But amidst thousands of tips law enforcement has received, it's been like tracking down a needle in a nationwide haystack. It's been 6 weeks since the murders of 4 U of I students. Law enforcement with limited answers, though with plenty of leads to go off of.
Investigators continue to work through over 17,000 tips and leads that we've had thus far. The last number that we had were over 250 interviews have been conducted thus far, and that number continues to grow every day.
Despite the sea of potential leads, no substantial updates have been announced in weeks. I asked if there was anything that they could share that might indicate that they're progressing in this case.
It's hard for the people in the public to understand the inner workings and the things that are going on behind the scenes in an investigation like this. Like I said before, 17,000 tips and leads is a massive amount of information to analyze, review, and then get out to the investigators to work on. We are making progress. The case is continuing to move forward, and we've got investigators working on this 24 hours a day.
Despite little information to go off of,
there are a lot of theories out there, and
investigators continue to work through over 17,000 tips and leads that we've had thus far. The last number that we had were over 250 interviews have been conducted thus far, and that number continues to grow every day.
Despite the sea of potential leads, no substantial updates have been announced in weeks. In this case.
It's hard for the people in the public to understand the inner workings and the things that are going on behind the scenes in an investigation like this. Like I said before, 17,000 tips and leads is a massive amount of information to analyze, review, and then get out to the investigators to work on. We are making progress. The case is continuing to move forward.
Case.
It's hard for the people in the public to understand the inner workings and the things that are going on behind the scenes in an investigation like this. Like I said before, 17,000 tips and leads is a massive amount of information to analyze, review, and then get out to the investigators to work on. We are making progress. The case is continuing to move forward.
Idaho students were murdered. The timestamp says 3:45 a.m., right in the time frame in which police say the killings took place. The video has been handed over to police. It shows the car traveling on this road outside the gas station. It's just 1.2 miles from the house where the students were murdered.
Who's out at 3:45 a.m. speeding? And this is significant, Harris, very significant. In a town of less than 50,000 people, less than 30,000 people, the driver has not come forward. Why?
Inside Edition spoke with News Nation's Brian Enton in Idaho.
The exact direction we don't know. We know that it was on Highway 8, right in front of the gas station, and turned onto a side road. It appeared the car was headed out of town, and reportedly the assistant manager at the gas station said it was going quite fast.
The night manager says she was acting on a hunch and went through hours of surveillance video from that night. Turns out her hunch was right. Now questions are being raised about why a month after the murders, that gas station video and others from businesses along Route 8 had not been already examined by police. There are several.
Oh, there you go. Sorry about that if I was muted. Put down 4:04 a.m. until 4:20 a.m. or just keep that in the back of your mind for a second, or for a little bit of seconds until the end of this. But also bump it up to 4:17 because that's when the dog was barking allegedly. So it shouldn't be muted. It should be unmuted now. And like I said, I'm going to come back to that.
Idaho students were murdered. The timestamp says 3:45 a.m., right in the
Okay, this would be everything that we hear. All right. Make the news, media, whatever. But we're going to talk about we're going to go through this discovery, but we're going to actually talk about what and when really stuff started happening about a white vehicle. And that was November 14th. Okay, so I'm going to redirect us to boom. Nope. All right, here we go. Really quick, this is important. The initial discovery request came out on January 10th. This is stuff we've read through. Okay, this had all those initial this date is going to be really important. January 23rd, the state's response. And like I said, we've gone through this. See Exhibit A would be the attachment at the end, where they attached 995 pages. AV1, that is just one audio. I'm going to show you how I know that. And then photos, 1,865. Okay. But this was their answer. All right. To the initial discovery. All right. And that was January 23rd. Now, on February 8th, this would be defendant's first supplemental request for discovery. And what they did is they made their own exhibit. They attached Exhibit A. And this is the first time that you will hear about Exhibit A from the defense. It's specific Exhibit A, and it's written out request, and it began with request number 1, and then it stopped at a certain number. Okay? And that's how they refer to this supplemental. It means everything that they received from the state they went through, and they said, okay, these are the things that we need that we don't believe that we have. Okay? So this goes to them, meaning them as the state, on February 8th. On February 21st, this is the state's response. And right here, they say the state incorporates that it's January 23rd, 2023 state's response to the request. This is their answer. It is the same as it was on 1/23, 2023. We gave it to you. That's their answer. Then, on March 24th, they do a second supplemental request. This has, in this one, Exhibit B. So they labeled their first request with the supplementals. That was Exhibit A when they did request 1 through whatever number they stopped at. Then they do their second supplemental, and this is considered material outlined as Exhibit B. So the first Exhibit B with requests written out, so they're being specific, and then whatever number they would have left off on with Exhibit A, they are now beginning with Exhibit B, and it begins their second supplemental request. Now, one day before this explosive March 30th, which we're going to get to, the state says, again, the state incorporates its January 23rd, 2023. What we gave you initially, that's what you have. That's what you're getting. Yeah, Bob. Again, don't worry. I'm back. Had to grab something. Had to grab some water too. Okay. So right here, the state incorporates its January 23rd, 2023 statements. Okay. Again, the state answer is that they have provided everything when they gave their January 23rd, 2023, boom. Okay. As if fully set forth at this point. This would be one day, okay? Again, this is Exhibit B. And they're saying, again, we gave you everything on the 23rd of January. Now this is where we get into the good stuff. And Taylor knows that they're full of shit, okay? But this date, they answered this one within 5 days. 5 days. And they did it the day before this. We uncovered this March 30th, 2023, and we're going to get there. Right here, May 3rd. This is the third supplemental request. Okay. And this is in this request. They asked for the chain of custody. This had a lot to do with all the DNA protocols. But if you noticed, this was, again, May 3rd. They put that in. Then the day after, May 4th, motion to compel. Okay. They're just asking for defendants' first supplemental and second supplemental to compel, because obviously, guys, they just gave them this the day before. Okay, for the third. All right, the third supplemental request. What they did is, now this is where logic comes in. They combined in this compel the first and second supplemental requests, but it does state in it. So Mr. Kohlberger, for number one, Mr. Kohlberger requests in order for the state to disclose. Actually, I'm going to zoom in on that just for a second. Go like this. There you go. Oh, by the way, I smashed my finger. So it's half bloody, half not bloody. Don't mind it. Mr. Kohlberger requests an order for the state to disclose the following items included in the defendant's first supplemental. So CS says request number 43. Again, this is from Exhibit A. All the body cam and dash cam footage from officers involved in the search warrant and arrest of Brian. And it just says, as of this date, we don't have it. Okay. Now, number 49, all lab testing, including photographs, diagrams, bench notes, including but not limited to. And I underlined the most important thing, which was everything to do with the Hyundai Elantra. Okay. And right here it says that this is where they believe, based upon information and belief, these reports contain exculpatory information. Okay, remember this. They're telling you where they believe it exists right here. They believe that when you give us this, and this is only my personal opinion, is that we believe that it's going to have exculpatory evidence because there's going to be nothing in it. Okay. Speaking about the car. Possibly whatever then they took from the home, because there's other things there. The parents' home, the trash can. Next, 49, they want lab testing. And now report 11 is important because they bring it up again. Don't know what it is, but report number 11. Number 3 is request number 19, and it's from the first. So we know that in the first supplemental request, which was Exhibit A, we know that at least goes to number 119 because it's stating it here. Mr. Kohlberger has not received recordings and notes from the interrogations of Mr. Kohlberger by Moscow Detective Payne. Mr. Kohlberger requests order from the state, including defense number 115, all police reports, audios, video evidence, and this is just Brian based on his arrest. Here we go. 161. So between 119 and 161, somewhere between there is when they begin Exhibit B. All reports, notes, recordings, photographs. And this has to do with Mr. Kohlberger has not received the requested materials. On information belief, counsel believes these materials contain exculpatory evidence. So again, they bring up the word exculpatory and they're telling them where to find it. You didn't give us our request for number 116. All reports, notes, recordings, and photos. And see how they're writing ... This is the defense's way of keeping things, because they know that this is probably going to be seen by the public. Okay. So, but they're just, they're being this way for a reason, to keep it not being able to be seen by us. But at least it's getting its point across that, hey, we don't have this. If you go and look at this in the exhibit, you're going to see it's all written out. And right here again, they're stating that they believe that there's exculpatory evidence in that. And then they ask for the training records. This is how specific they went. Then look at 8 days later. Now you have the state. Just going to back this out a little bit. You have the state. For the first time now, state's response to defense motion to compel. This is the first time that we don't hear or see them say, we stand by our January 23rd statements. This is the first time that you don't see that. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm not looking at chat at all, so I will highlight that. You are also welcome. Thank you all for supporting. Okay. So right here is the first time that we do not see January 23rd, them saying that, hey, we gave everything on January 23rd. This is the first time that they say, by way of a background, as of the date of this response, 5/12, the state has provided the following discovery to the defendant. 10,000 pages of reports, and other written materials. Remember, it was 995, 1 through 195. Now they're saying it's approximately 10,000 pages. Okay. Now, approximately 10,200 photographs. It was 1,890. Okay. Approximately 9,200 tips. And then this is where you get into the hard drive for the audio video media. Okay. Now, I'm going to back us up before we go into this to show you guys one more time. Remember, I said this date. I believe that they hustled and bustled this in so that they could say this again. Okay. Last time I checked, when you have a planned meeting to meet up with people or to get things from people, okay? If I have a planned meeting with the FBI or other law enforcement to get items, or we're supposed to meet, and I'm supposed to be getting things from them, or I don't know in this day and age why things wouldn't be sent over, or maybe we're doing Zooms. I don't know. But if I know on my calendar that I'm going to be getting something on the 30th, okay, if I hurry up and I write this up on 3/29, I'm not lying, am I? All right. Isn't it ironic that March 30th, when they allegedly uncovered, this was discovered on the 30th. This was discovered on the 30th. We're going to get to it, but I'm just bringing this back to you guys to say this was answered literally within just 324 is when it got put in, 329 response. Okay. And they stuck with the same thing as in, and you're going to see how this all comes full circle, that on January 23rd, we gave you everything. The state incorporates January 23rd. That's our response. Okay. Just reminding everybody of that. Now, this is their first state's response to defense motion to compel. Okay. So from January 23rd, all the way, the defense had nothing. Okay. Nothing more than what they had on January 23rd, which were these things: 995 pages, 1,890 photographs. Now it's 10,200. Now it's 10,000. Now it's 9,200. I played this intro for a reason. And he said, what'd he say? 17,000 tips. Let me back that up. Okay. So on May 12th, when Ann Taylor would have gotten this, it says, with the above in mind, the state respectfully submits the following specific responses because Ann gave you these specific. Okay. So the search and arrest of Brian Koberger in Pennsylvania. The state is unaware of any body cams and dash cams. And I've told you guys this. You ain't going to see any from Pennsylvania. Good luck. Number 2, numerous lab reports regarding forensic evidence collection and analysis of items recovered from the defense parents' home, the defense vehicle have been disclosed to the defendant. Oh, well, when? Today, when you just, by way of background, as of the date of this response, okay, as the date of this response, this is what we've provided. So everything to do with the car. The defendant's attorneys and investigators have also been given direct access to view and inspect items seized from his parents' residence, to include his vehicle. They don't give a shit about seeing his vehicle or seeing his car. They need your reports from your experts as to the conclusions of said tests. Okay? Because you guys arrested this man, right? Now, these reports include items from the FBI laboratory. Look at what it says right here, as well as the Idaho State Police. The defendant's attorneys and investigators have also been given direct access to view and inspect items seized from his parents' residence to include his vehicle. The state will continue to disclose additional reports it receives that are subject to discovery. To the extent the defense believes that certain reports may contain exculpatory information, the state asks that the defense specify what exculpatory information they are referring to. Well, you just gave this to them here, but I thought they were pretty specific here when they said that it was request number 49. That's what has. I mean, what do you want them to specifically say? They make a big deal about 2A because there was issues with the numbering system that they used and things were having duplicate numbers. They talk about that. And then they say ISP lab report 11, which is pending review and approval at the lab. So on this date, which is May 12th, the ISP lab report 11, which is pending review and approval at the lab. To assist the parties, the state has initiated specific inquiries about this, the status of all of this stuff. Remember this talk about this stuff takes time. This stuff takes time. This is not like CSI. This stuff takes time. All right. Well, how could the sheath go through boom, 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 got it right back? This stuff takes time. I don't disagree. Okay. But you've had this since, this is May. This is May. Okay. You were able to somehow get something back from Idaho, something in Pennsylvania, be able to get it to Idaho within less than 24 hours, get it to a lab, run it all through, and be able to know okay, we can go ahead. Here's the arrest warrant now for Brian Koberger because we can link some DNA to him. You've had this stuff since, we'll just be nice and just say January 1st. You've had this stuff since January 1st. It's May 12th. Okay. So I wonder what report 11 is from the ISP lab. I wonder if that is the sheath. Just saying. The state has provided a copy of the report memo referred to as request number 161 to the defendant. The state is unaware of any notes, recordings, or photographs. Basically, they were willing to do some stuff about getting their request about people's training. They had a pro offer. They were willing to do what was in this portion of it to satisfy their needs. And I think basically Ann told them no. Okay, that's May 12th. All right. From May 4th, May 12th. Now, check this out. May 12th. Now what the state decides to do, okay, this is important. What the state decides to do on June 8th. Okay. Remember all that supplemental talk? Remember every time that they had a response to the supplemental responses? Remember these responses? Defendant's first supplemental request for discovery, And the response was, hey, well, we gave you everything on January 23rd. Remember all those January 23rds. Well, now here we come to June 8th. June 8th. And here we go. States supplemental responses to defendants' first, second, and third supplemental requests for discovery. A supplemental response to defendant's first supplemental request for discovery filed on February 3rd, 2023 is attached as Exhibit A. Remember what they wrote before? Remember what they wrote when the defense asked for the first supplemental? They said, we gave it to you on January 23rd. We gave it to you January 23rd. Well, now they have here is attached as Exhibit A. That's going to be for supplemental request number 1. Supplemental request to defendant's second supplemental request filed on the 23rd, which was actually like the 24th, but whatever. This is attached as Exhibit B. Okay. And then so there they want to say now that, okay, the state incorporates its January 23rd, 2023 state's response to request for discovery, February 21st, 2023, state's response to defendant's first supplemental request for discovery, March 29th, 2023, state's response to defendant's second supplemental request for discovery, May 12th, state's response to defendant's third supplemental request for discovery, and May 12, 2023, state's response to defendant's motion to compel discovery as if fully set forth at this point. Oh, so now here on June 8th, look at, this is when the preliminary hearing was supposed to start, right? Now here on June 8th, you have now provided exhibits A to cover the first supplemental request, and now exhibit B to cover the second supplemental request. And now here on June 8th, you are saying now on June 8th that we are truly now satisfying what we acted like we already turned over, right? Gave it to you, just kept incorporating that January 23rd. Well, here now we have, here you go. Okay. So now this is where Ann says, you guys are a bunch of idiots. Before she does that, though, they do, because the defendant's response to the state's request for discovery for disclosure, this is where they were asking for an alibi demand. And Ann's like, hold the front door. Okay. We're not even there yet because we don't even have the discovery. Okay. So, but they incorporate that in there. But on June 15th, 7 days after the 8th, because usually that's what you have, like 7 days to reply. This is defendant's second motion to compel discovery. And this is what Ann is talking about. She's saying that here comes Brian through his attorneys, pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 16F, hereby moves the court to order the state to comply with defendant's first and second supplementary requests. She does not put in here anywhere about anything to do with the third supplemental request. Okay. She is asking them to defendant's first and second supplemental request for discovery and Exhibit A and B attached to this request. The state has provided a significant amount of discovery and has provided written responses to the discovery requests. However, certain requests remain outstanding. As such, Mr. Colbert requests an order, and here are those. Following items included in defendant's first and second supplemental request for discovery. Now, this is where we're going to get into the bombshell, but I like to break it down so that everybody can boom. Hey, if you want to know how that all worked, here's what they went and did from January until present day, going back and forth with this discovery. Okay. And I want you guys to keep in mind that in order for them to arrest Brian Kohberger, okay, and in order for them to get search warrants, right, they were supplying these affidavits. They were supplying information to the judge to be able to get these search warrants. And you used data to do that. You used stuff to do that. Otherwise, how is a judge signing anything in order to be like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Here, we're just going to give you a search warrant for that. Okay. So please keep that in mind. Now I'm going to zoom in. Okay. You guys, this was request number 1 from Exhibit A. This is request number fucking 1. Number 1 on the piece of paper. Given when? February. Investigative reports and conclusions from all cell phone analysis, including but not limited to any analysis conducted by police agencies, police, so Moscow Police Department, that'd be Idaho State Police, anything police, FBI CAST team, or other Idaho authorities. The state has responded by listing page numbers, which what we know is they have right here, 10,000 pages. Okay. So, but what the state did is they said they gave page numbers and audio video file names of information and data provided to the defense and discovery. As of June 13th, 2023, counsel for Mr. Kohberger has not received any investigative reports and conclusions of the analysis of this data conducted by police agencies. You guys, this is how you would have arrested Brian Kohberger. This is in the PCA. Okay. So what I believe that Ann and them did is they went to the PCA and they went in an order of this PCA and how they arrested and got search warrants on their client. But as part of this investigation, page 11, PCA, as part of this investigation, again, date, which we ended up coming and finding out that when they asked for these search warrants, which was on 11/16, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13th, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. After determining, again, what is the date of this search warrant? So this was my original notes. When they went ahead and released the search warrants, then I realized, okay, 11/16 is when you got the search warrant to get the towers. Okay. After determining that Kohlberger was associated to both the 2015 white Elantra and this phone number, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. And when they did that, 8458 phone did not show up. But based on my training experience, conversations with law enforcement officers, yada, 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 we know what that says. I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th, 12 a.m. to November 14th. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to the search warrant, I received records These records also include historical cell site location information. After receiving this information, I consulted with an FBI agent that is certified as a member of the CAST. Members of CAST are certified with FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to be certified with CAST, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Yeah, that's what they have to do. That's what they do. I consulted with. Additionally, the FBI CAST essay that I consulted with, didn't do it, consulted with. You can consult with me. That doesn't mean that I did your report. You know, think about if you're a consultant on a job. Yeah, that's a consultant. I asked them a bunch of questions, but I'm the one that's doing it. Okay, they didn't do it. I just consulted with this person. I consulted with has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI. From information provided by CAST, when you consulted with them, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from November 12th to November 13th, the time period authorized by the court. But I thought they actually gave you till the 14th, so I'm kind of confused there. Then it goes on to this section. Okay, so so let's go back to this. Request number one. We need investigative reports and conclusions from all cell phone analysis, including but not limited to any analysis conducted by police agencies, that would be Payne, FBI CAST team, or other Idaho authorities. As of June 13, 2023, counsel for Mr. Kohlberger has not received any investigative reports and conclusions of the analysis of this data conducted by police agencies. This should just be so readily available because this is how you arrested him. Again, right all into here. Okay. Wait till you see what this goes into. This goes into tracking Brian's cell phone to say when it turned off, that it was back on, where it was, that it was moving, what cell phone tower it hit off of, and why. The most ridiculous. But wait a second. June 15th, we don't have it. Request number 4. Number 4 on the sheet. Number 4 on the sheet in Exhibit A, the first supplemental. So you got number 1 here. Oh, we don't have that. Now, okay, with number 4. All footage provided to forensic examiners with FBI used to identify the make and model of vehicle. Make and model vehicle. Why is this important? Because this is because you're basically saying the white Elantra committed the crime, basically. Okay, ready. Because we don't have this. The defense does not have this. June 15th. All footage provided to forensic examiners with the FBI used to identify make and model of vehicle. So it's like, do you guys remember this part of the PCA? When they said on page 7 and 8? Here we go. Check out my notes from the PCA. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Dates. When? When did y'all do this? When? Dates. Law enforcement officers provided video footage. And it says video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilizes surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a crime. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years specified training, including identifying unique characteristics of vehicles. And he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across the states to identify differences between the vehicles. I'm telling you this right now. There is no way that an FBI expert would ever say that a 2011 model and a 2016 model, or even that of a 2014 and a 2016, could be considered in the same category, because they changed the body after 2014. They changed where the lights were. They changed so much from the 2014 end of that to go into 2015. I broke it down here on this channel so many times. And I said, this is problematic. This is going to blow up in their faces because they identified 2 different vehicles. And this is exculpatory. Because the vehicle over at WSU's campus is not the same vehicle on the video that you gave to this FBI guy by King. It's 2 different vehicles. You identified 2 different vehicles. And an FBI agent did that. Now, again, what's the date here? No date. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, well, what camera footage? Like, what did you give them? When did this change date happen? Look at this is my original notes from back in January when this came out. When did this change? After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that the suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. I only put in here December 7th because that's when we know for sure that we got it. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016. No fucking way is that possible. That is 100% not possible. You would never think a 2011 was a 2016 because of the lights, because of the location of where the lights are on the vehicle. Impossible. Impossible. Again, as a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons, plural, not person, persons, in possession of a vehicle that is a 2011-2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Well, what are the dates when any of this started happening? Because you never changed it. You never changed it. You never changed it out with the public. You never changed it, period. Look at what Anne is asking for. This is your PCA. So you clearly have it, right? Because everybody was like, oh, just wait for the preliminary hearing. You guys are going to get everything. They have so much. Just wait for it. Bullshit. Here she goes. She says, I need all the footage provided to forensic examiners with the FBI used to identify the make and model of the vehicle. I need all reports generated related to the identification. The identification. There's going to be a report with that. It's going to show in that report what you pointed out as to why you believe that it is this. You're going to use your tools. You're going to use the training that you had. All reports, communications, and documentation related to the change in year of the white Elantra. C. And then the credentials of this forensic examiner. Who the hell did this? Who is this person? Now, the state has responded by listing various page numbers and file names of recordings they have previously provided. That means you gave us, like they said, page numbers and file names of recordings they have previously provided. However, big however here, they do not provide any reports generated, communications, and or documents relating to the change in year of the white Elantra or the person that did it, all their credentials, or the identity of this forensic examiner who identified this as the make and model of the vehicle. You guys, request 1, request 4. These are the first things that they're saying. Like, hello, this is your nuts and bolts on you, why you arrested Ryan Kohlberger. All right. And we don't have dick that shows that our client did any of this. Number 17, please see exhibit. Now, this is very, very interesting. Ann Taylor does not want to give up some information here. So what she does is she writes, yeah, what you want, baby? She's back. She's back. Okay. All right. Again, request 17 right here says, please see Exhibit A to defendant's first supplemental discovery request for specifics. She doesn't even want to write it out. She doesn't even want to write this out. You want to know why? Because we're all going to see it. We're all going to see this. So we have no idea what request 17, what it has to do with, right? And she's like, just please see Exhibit A to defendant's first supplemental discovery request for specifics, because this is going to be seen, okay? And then all she states is that the state has responded that they are attempting to obtain this information. The state has responded that they are attempting to obtain this information. If it exists, the state will comply with the request upon receipt. Request 23. Again, please see Exhibit A, because we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. The state responded that they have provided AV000123. Check this out. Remember the initial AV0001? Remember that's what they originally got? AV00123. 123 now. One. Okay, now check this out. The state responded that they have provided AV00123, discovered on March 30th, 2023. However, the provided recording is an in-person interview with FBI agents rather than the phone interview done by Moscow Police Department. Do you guys see that? Now, so they looked this. Remember I told you pay attention to the state? Remember, what did they do on March 29th? They hurry up and filed. Okay. And said, nope, everything's just with our January 23rd. Everything's just January 23rd, man. Okay. So they looked the day after. Or asked the FBI the day after. Did they look and find something? So they answer that. But then the day after, they are able to discover this. So they looked the day after, or asked the FBI the day after. And then what they did is then they used whatever they discovered on the 30th, okay, to answer request 23, Exhibit A, so it'd be from the first supplementals, which would have been in February, okay? And now think about it. Think long, think hard, just think. And Anne's over here saying, what we asked you guys was for the phone interview done by Moscow Police Department. And you guys handed us an in-person interview with FBI agents rather than the phone interview done by Moscow Police Department. So you didn't have to go anywhere. You didn't have to ask the FBI. You had this material because it's in this request. It's in Exhibit A. This is part of February. You had this. What she is asking for is not from the FBI, who you could have possibly only discovered on the 30th. That's not what she was asking for. What she was asking for is something that they've had all along, because it's Moscow Police Department is what she's asking for. How you don't have this. How you were playing so fucking stupid to then on this request when you did this, I'm guessing on the 8th of June, you're providing something that you just discovered. But see, somebody thought they were going to be so slick and be like, here, hurry up and submit this, and then you can act like you didn't discover it. Well, Anne's like, you guys are a bunch of dipshits. We didn't ask you for something from the FBI. We asked you for the Moscow Police Department's recorded interview for a phone conversation. And to me, this is going to be early on in the investigation. Who was at home? Who was there and then left? And who was home? We asked around. Nobody was interviewed for this case. So you have some options here. They're either the neighbors, they're either the surviving witnesses, someone like a Jack D, the neighbors. But this is going to be what they're asking for is a phone interview done by Moscow Police Department. And why would Moscow Police Department have to be making phone interviews when if people are right there? So think about the people that wouldn't have been there. But the state responded that they have provided this video and that they just discovered it on 3/30/2023. However, the provided recording is an in-person interview with the FBI, with FBI agents, rather than the phone interview done by Moscow Police. Because they're trying to be, they don't just want to come out and say what it's exactly for, okay? But this has to be from a report that they would have read. Ready? They were given this. Exhibit A. January 23rd. This is what they just kept saying. This is what we had. This is what we have. We stand by this. I believe that there was a report between 1 and 995. Okay? There was a report, and that report says that it came from a phone interview. Because on the top of your reports, you have to fill in a bunch of crap. And in the synopsis of your report, it says stuff like, at 22 hours, blah, blah, officer so-and-so called up so-and-so. Okay? And talked to so-and-so, and this is what so-and-so had to say. All right? So what then the defense would do is in their request when they go through stuff is what I believe request number 23 is, because it's early on, is this is from a report that said that this interview took place over the phone and that it was recorded, audio recorded. Okay? And they then put a request in saying, we want to hear the audio recording from, the Moscow Police Department with this person. Okay? And what they went ahead and provided is something that they discovered on March 30th, 2023, the day after they submitted their answers to say, we stand by the 23rd January crap. And what they found was they provided a recording is an in-person interview with FBI agents rather than the phone interview done by Moscow police. And to me, this is basically saying you found something that you're trying to say was FBI related and it was after the 29th of March. Well, guess what? We've been asking for this since February. Okay. We don't give a shit about what you found on March 30th. We know. I don't even know that answer. Well, they know this answer. And the defense knows that you've had this because it's the Moscow Police Department's recording of a phone interview. And now who's the phone interview with? And so anybody out there that went ahead and ran with this whole that the FBI interviewed Brian and all this fucking crazy ass shit, it's not true. It's not what this is about. There is a report, and from that report, they wanted the recording of it. And here, the state answered by giving them something that they haven't yet, made it seem like that they couldn't do it because they just got it on the 30th. But it doesn't even make any sense because that's not what they were wanting. They did not want anything from the FBI. That's not what they asked for. Request number 109, identity of FBI special agent that is a member of the cellular analysis survey team that was consulted with to determine locations of the cell phone from 11/12 and 11/13 and all CAS certification records and training records for the involved agents. Ready? The state objected to this request for the reason that this is outside the scope of ICR 16. To the extent that the state intends to offer expert testimony, it will comply with ICR 16b7. Mr. Kohlberger disagrees. That means the defense disagrees. Okay? This isn't just like Brian's like, oh my God, I disagree on this. No. It's just a wording. Mr. Kohlberger disagrees because they speak for him. Mr. Kohlberger disagrees as this information was largely relied upon in various warrants, including the arrest warrant. See these lights? All the lights. See right there? The lights underneath. That's what they were like from 2011 to 2014. 2015. Lights. Rims are different. The mirror is different. The mirror is different. The rims are different. This is your 2015. The grill is different. The lights are different. That was a new addition on the 2015. 2014, 2015. From 2011 to 2014, this is going to be your shape of your fog light. This is your shape, this L versus this. This is the type of tools that they would be using to identify. The light placement, the wheels. Again, 2011 to 2014. This is when it changed in 2015. And see all those points they're pointing out? Those are all where all the changes were. I did a whole bunch of episodes on this because nobody that would be in the FBI and that was an expert. I mean, I consulted with car people that were, I acted like I wanted to buy a vehicle. All right. And you talk to car people, and there is no way that anybody that's a car person is going to. These aren't even on. It's like 14, 11, 12s. I want the back end of it. The 2015. You could even say, there we go, 2015. For you to even say that it was between a 2014 and 2016, you can't even do that, okay? But here's your difference. See where your lights are on the outside here? This is what changed on the body that was big with the lights, okay? For your 2011, 12, 13, 14, your lights are underneath. Underneath, see? Your lights on 2015 on the outside. See on the outside? And this is everything. This is how you would be able to identify vehicles. Oh, they're both Elantras. Okay, well, was it a 2011 or was it a 2015? Because it matters. Why? Well, because the one on WSU's campus, they want to say was between a 2014 and 2016. Well, I don't know how you even are saying that it's 2014 and comparing that with a 16 because I'm showing you the differences. And it's the lights. And on the front, it's even more noticeable. So this whole thing about not having a front plate, okay? If you can see that that doesn't have a front plate on it, you damn well can see what type of lights are the fog lights. You would know. My cousin Vinny, first time I ever saw that movie was a couple months ago. My cousin Vinny can prove this shit. I don't know how, if you were sitting in a jury chair and you're one of the jurors and somebody showed you that and then somebody showed you this, how you could ever say that that's in the same spot. These are underneath, closer together in the middle of the car. These are on the outside. And here it is. This is the exterior overview, and it talks about what was changed in the 2015. Okay. So much so that your wheels, this is when they started doing in 2015, it was more like a rim look. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at your 2011. You had this shitty ass like hubcap looking like ton of spoke bullshit. shitty ass look. Okay. That's going to be your 2011 through your 2014 look, right? Like that. This is going to be your tire look on a 2015 and 2016. Okay. This would not be able to be fucking missed by an FBI expert of 12 years and 35 years in law enforcement. And if it is missed, then I think that they should probably retire or maybe get their eyes checked. One of the two. Pick. 2013 front grille. (2015) front grille and lights. These are more narrow lights now, way thicker here, way bulkier. And then way thicker here of a line with your 2015 and your look at. Do you see any chrome? No. Do you see it there? Yep. You see the light, fog light? It's got that L shape. This is just that dark. Looks like a Honda Civic. Looks like a Honda Accord. All right. Again, Mr. Koberger disagrees. As this information was largely relied upon in various warrants, including the arrest warrant. PA arrest warrant. Let me zoom this out. Right here. On Wednesday, December 28th, 2022, the Pennsylvania State Police was requested to assist the Moscow Police Department and the FBI with a homicide investigation. As part of this investigation, we reviewed reports and affidavits, plural. Reports and affidavits, plural, prepared by the Moscow PD, establishing probable cause for the issuance of search warrants related to this investigation, which are included in the affidavit of probable cause as Exhibit A, but there's multiple Exhibit A's. Furthermore, so right here, they are stating it right here. The reason is because we reviewed reports. We reviewed multiple affidavits. That's why Pennsylvania's on board. And this is what Anne is asking for. She's asking for, right here, all this shit. This is all information that was largely relied upon in various warrants, including the arrest warrant. Information relied upon to secure search and arrest warrants is necessary to conduct to see if Brian's if there's Fourth Amendment issues. Further, the entirety of the information could include materials required under Brady. Look at how they turned in their tips. Request 120 and 140, all tips received by law enforcement relating to this case. The state has provided various tips throughout discovery. However, they are scattered in pieces throughout the discovery. Well, I don't know how that'd be possible if the FBI had their own tip line and the FBI is taking these tips. Remember this? We went through each and every tip. There's like a form for that. You fill that out, boom, it has a number. Okay. And you go to your file, boom, there it is. Okay, here's all of our tips. Here they all are. You have the submit tip option, right? You go there. Where do you think that those get funneled to? Like what? An email? And then what's the protocol with that? Where do those then go to? Why would they be scattered through the discovery? Oh, because that's Moscow Police Department's tips probably. That were written on like how the Chris Watts case was, like just shit everywhere written on the side of notes and, whatever. But Anne's like, no. The state's paying for it either way. But please go ahead and prepare us a complete and chronological list of all tips. Why are those important? Well, duh. Let's see what was called in. They said they vetted. They went through everything. Request 136. All audio recordings related to all search warrants obtained in this matter. You guys, we've said it since day one. How in the world are you obtaining certain search warrants? Okay. You just can't waltz into a courthouse and say, yo, judge, let me get that historical data. Let me get this. Let me get that. What? No. Why do you guys think the only... Look at... The only place you're going to find this in any of the warrants is right here. To arrest Brian Kohlberger. They don't use the sheath DNA, this whatever the hell you want to call it. They only use it to arrest Brian because you know what I think? You weren't arresting Brian unless you had that. I don't believe the judge was going to sign off on it. I believe that that's why Anne asked for it. She wanted everything that, even if it wasn't signed, any attempt. I believe that they tried to get it without this, to arrest Brian. Because I always said, why not just do the search warrant? So you were able to get the search warrants without having this DNA in here. Why not just do that first and let's see what comes back. Let's see what happens from that. Okay? Let's see if any, here, go ahead. Yep, search that, run your test, see what happens. You want to know why they couldn't do that? Well, by God, we have classes that start. We have school that starts. These kids ain't coming back if we don't have an arrest. Are you kidding me? That's why. Right here, though, this is the only warrant not to search his apartment, not to search the house of his parents, not for any of these other search warrants. The only search warrant that features none other than this DNA from this Idaho State lab that they were able to get back within, what is the chain? How did you transport? Who transported this? This garbage collection, and how did it get there? How was it tested? We're still waiting for stuff. We don't even know that answer. What's going on here? This is the only search warrant. Okay. This search warrant, the stuff in Pennsylvania, guess what they used? They used Brett Payne's Exhibit A. But check it out. When you go and you flip through the pages, well, let's get back to this right here. Ready? You see this where it says additionally? I don't even know that answer. We don't even know that answer. This is up here to arrest him. This paragraph follows then into on December 27th. Okay. This is to arrest him. The same hour of the same day, within 15, 20 minutes. December 29th at 4:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was before this, which was 2:52 p.m. West Coast. So if you go to Eastern Standard, that's 5:52. See? 4:44, 5:52. This comes first. Ready? Additionally. Ready? That next paragraph. On December 27th, that next paragraph. Based off of the above information, I am seeking a search warrant. See that? Why isn't on December 27th, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohlberger family residence? Where's that? Why isn't that here in Brett Payne's Exhibit A? Ready? This is what they used. Pennsylvania used this to get their probable cause to search Brian Kohlberger. Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne. This is Pennsylvania's Exhibit A. Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne. These are two different exhibits. Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne to get the Pennsylvania to search his parents' place. This is to arrest him. When these are signed within less than an hour of one another. And when you get to that last page, instead of having right here where it should fall, which is December 27th. Additional, so you have the same paragraphs there and there. Then we should be having this on December 27th, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohlberger family. Nope. They don't even talk about that. They don't even mention why do you need, why can't, what? Why isn't it in this one about the Pennsylvania, everything to do about the sheath, about the DNA? We'll just say the DNA. Remember the statement here? On December 27th, Pennsylvania agents recovered. You see that right there? Pennsylvania agents. You ready for this though? You see that date on December 27th? Pennsylvania agents recovered. You guys ready for this? I don't think you are. According to Pennsylvania, On Wednesday, December 28th, Pennsylvania State Police were requested to assist the Moscow Police Department. Let me zoom in there. Here you go. Okay, ready? On Wednesday, December 28th, the Pennsylvania State Police, they were requested to assist the Moscow Police Department and the FBI. See? See that right there? The 28th? This is Brett Payne's statement. On December 27th, the Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohlberger family residence. They weren't even on it yet on the 27th. They weren't asked to help out yet. Who recovered the trash? What Pennsylvania agents? Is this a fancy way of you really meant to say Pennsylvania FBI? Did the FBI recover it? Because I can tell you what, PSP did not. Because PSP wasn't on the case yet. On Wednesday, December 28th, the Pennsylvania State Police was requested to assist, the 28th. Furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property and area of 119 in the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 27th. Well, who are these investigators? Who are the investigators that got the trash? It was not Pennsylvania State Police. They're telling us that they didn't get it right here. They're telling us that they didn't get it. Let me back you up just so you can see it. There you go. Furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property. Again, they say, furthermore, investigators. What investigators? The neighbor across the street, Susan Payne, who's an FBI agent that lives across the street from the Kohlberger residence. Did she help out in this? Is she the neighbor that just, again, now look at this. On December 27th, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash. Well, I can tell you what, you got a huge problem on your hands, because unless this is your fancy dancy way of basically saying, yeah, I put it like I said, Pennsylvania agents like that. Well, I can promise you that the Pennsylvania State Police, that's who this search warrant went through, the Pennsylvania State Police. Okay. And they did not go get that trash. That trash was already had, and they say it right here. Furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property. And those investigators observed Brian Kohlberger walking near this residence. Additionally, Kohlberger's vehicle was observed entering on December 16th. Who saw it? Who? It was not Pennsylvania State Police, because they were not asked to do anything and come on board until the 28th. Lana, no one named Payne lives near the Kohlberger home. Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. I don't believe that they're related. The person that lives across the street from Brian Kohlberger was an FBI agent. Look it up. Additionally, Kohlberger's vehicle was observed. Okay, and the vehicle is still believed to be on premises. Investigators are also monitoring Kohlberger's cellular phone, which appears to be in the same vicinity of this residence. On Wednesday, December 28th, While conducting surveillance, investigators observed Kohlberger traveling throughout Monroe County and arriving back at his residence. At the end of the day, none of that matters to who the neighbor of Brian Kohlberger was. Okay. What y'all should be paying attention to is on December 27th. This is what I had to put in. Officer Payne had to put this in order to be able to arrest Brian Kohlberger. And what that is hot. I believe that this is item number 11. I don't know why. I just have a funny feeling. But on December 27th, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash. And then that evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. Good luck. Gina, I'm well aware of that. Okay, honey dunny, I'm well aware. Spamming my chats, Gina. Now, I want to give a shout out. I'm going to close out my live. You guys can go back and review it all for your lovely little eyes. But I've been screaming this on my lives since January. I stand by my personal work, knowledge, logic. And then Ann Taylor left us with a little nugget there at the end just to say, you guys have had this stuff since 1/13/2023. Okay? Stop fucking around. Why do you keep wasting the taxpayers' money? If I lived in this area, I'd be one pissed person. Because the state's paying for it both ways. Brian Kohlberger is not paying a damn dollar. Okay? Idaho is paying for everything. Everything. And Ann said it right from the beginning when she first did this. If you have just let's go. But I want to leave you guys with, because this is going to be my follow-up on Monday night. I'm doing a big premiere on Monday night. And I think that this video, I'm going to give credit to the person that put it together. But this 30-minute video, I will pause it to read the stuff if you're following along and you're listening. But this is a pretty interesting video that they've taken a bunch of breakdowns. And in the beginning of this case, remember, there was no gag order. All right, so people were talking in the beginning. Loose lips sink ships, okay? And so in the beginning, that means people close to the investigation were talking. And they couldn't get in trouble for it. And a name I want to start talking about is Kane. because I have no idea what the hell is going on in Moscow, Idaho, but everybody is connected. Check it out. I'll answer questions here at the end of this 30-minute video. Lana, who do I think that they interviewed? They interviewed somebody that was unable to be interviewed in Moscow anymore. So they had to do stuff over the phone. And I said that in the beginning, that it's going to be somebody that early on, very early on, that an interview happened over the phone after it could have even happened, in person. So check this out. Thank you. And then anybody that, hold on, shared 8. Here we go. Welcome to the new members there. Danny, Mikey, Lollipop. Joseph, thank you for that super chat, super sticker. Joseph, welcome to be as a member as well. Lisa, thank you for that super sticker. Don't dive, super sticker as well. Thank you. Let's see. Mikey found the second camera after hours of looking at old footage last night. Should have had the right year 100 with the view, not at 500 apartment. I'll send when you are ready. We'll see.